Hello my crafting friends and welcome to my channel Heidi Samble DIY. In today's episode we're going to be doing some look for lesses. Now let's get crafting. I have been eyeing these bird mirrors for the longest time at Antique Farmhouse, and I've just decided, you know what, they have these round frames at the Dollar Tree. We're going to make our own version of this. So go ahead and grab 2 of those mirror frames and then 1 of these plant hangers. We're going to go ahead and take off the back so that we can get that out of the way. Take that plant hanger, open up the hook so we can get to those chains. We're going to need 2 of these chains for our 2 different mirrors because there are 3 strands on each one of those hooks, and we're going to need 4 of these bottom hooks that can go into the frame. So when you pick these up, make sure you get 2 of these packs of chains. Now at this point you can see that I've added on a second hook. So the one chain has 2 hooks at the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and remove 4 of these chains and add back on that hook because we're going to use these 2 hooks on the end to be able to go into the frame. So you can see here that I'm just removing the 4 chains that we don't need because we don't want it to be too long. And then I'm just going to make sure the measurement's right. I'm going to take my Crop-A-Dile because it goes through hard plastic and metal. I love this tool. I'll link it down below, but this tool is like my all-time favorite in my craft room. It's actually a eyelet smasher, eyelet tool for scrapbooking. I love this tool so much. So go ahead and punch out 2 holes, and I'm going to show you how I go ahead and put that hook in. I open up the hook. I'm going to come in on the first hole punch closest to the middle of that frame. I'm going to bring it down in there, push it in a little bit. You need to open up that hook just a tiny bit to get it through the second hole. And then I'm going to pull it up. And at this point, you can take that open hook and close it. I know that was kind of wordy, so hopefully that all made sense. But once you got those both sides on, put that to the side, and now we're going to make our little birds out of foil. I have fallen in love with foil, friends. I actually have some really cool DIYs coming here soon on my channel. So if you're a new subscriber, click the subscribe button so you don't miss these foil DIYs that are coming. Now I'm going to do this in real time. I'm not going to speed this up because I want you to see all the steps on how I made this little bird. My kids actually were all saying it looked more like a duck, but I like ducks too. So let's just call it a duck for now. So I went ahead and created the neck and the head, and then I'm now working on the body. You can see that the body is a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to keep curving around the bottom of the duck or bird, whichever we want to call it. And then I'm going to just bring down any of that extra, bringing it into the body, and whatever is too much extra bulk, I'm going to just cut that off. And then I'm going to keep pushing that down until I got it framed into the size of the body of our cute little duck slash bird. And now I'm going to use a hammer. This is going to help me compress it because at this point it's getting kind of harder to squeeze with your hand. And I'm going to just keep playing with it until I get the shape that I want. The hammer is really useful in this part so that you can be able to get it nice and compacted. And this is turning into a really cool cast iron type piece of DIY to work with. I think these are so cool, and you can make pretty much any shape you want. Now you can see I'm also using my pliers for those little tiny places that need to be squished a little bit more. And I'm also rocking and rolling across on my table. For the neck, I'm pushing it down a little bit so it doesn't look more like a goose. Just keep playing with it until you get it to the sizing. Now at the back of the tail, I'm going to use my pliers again. I'm going to squish into that area, pinching it so you've got more of that bottom feather pointed look at the end. And then I'm going to come in one more time with my hammer and just make sure everything is nice and tight and compacted. And once I've got it exactly the way I want it to look, we're now going to take some painter's tape, because you really can't paint foil and you really can't hot glue with foil. It's best to cover it with painter's tape. So do your very best to just wrap that painter's tape around the shape of your little duck or bird, and then go ahead and cut off anything that's extra. Keep pulling it tight so that you get that shape in there exactly the way you want it to. And then once everything is all nice and secure and you've got all of those little tiny pieces of foil that are showing, we don't want to see that, so that the paint looks really nice and finished when we get this all done. We're then going to take a shish kebab stick. I poked a hole in it first, and then I'm going to come in with some hot glue and glue that up in there. If you don't want to do these birds, go ahead and totally skip them. I really wanted the birds on my frames. So I'm going to go ahead and take some caulk, and I'm just going to smooth it out with some water. And once it was all dry, go ahead and paint it black. Now you have these cool cast iron looking birds, and we can punch a hole right in the top center of our mirror frame. And we're going to just take the shish kebab stick and put some hot glue on it and stick that right down into the hole. I feel like at this point, this is really starting to look like our inspiration, and we are saving tons of money. I love figuring out things like this for my home and just making it my own. So once that glue is in there, go ahead, pop that frame back in, and now I'm going to come in with some of that brown paint, some cinnamon. Once it's dry, go ahead and dust off all the excess, and then come back in with any black paint if you want to touch it up. And when you're all done, you have got yourself a beautiful knockoff Look for Less of those bird mirrors. I am going to be using a plunger, these two cute crates that they have in the craft section at the Dollar Tree, and then some leftover long painter sticks that I've cut down to size that are left over from a previous project. We're going to take some wood glue and some hot glue and put it all over one of the sides of these crates, and then we're going to just bring them together because we're going to be creating a super cute summer tray that is so farmhouse inspired, and it's super easy because they already have these crates at the Dollar Tree and they have so many of them. They have different things on the sides as cut out. Now I'm going to go with these long painter sticks to create the handle right at the star point. I'm just going to center it right in the middle of the box, adding some hot glue and some wood glue. Again, like I like that long-term, short-term hold, so it really is built well. And then we're going to just put that right on the center, just like I did the other one. And then we can go ahead and create the crossbar up at the top. That's where our plunger comes in handy. We're going to cut off the screwed end that's engraved into the wood, and then we're going to cut off the other side so we get the right sizing, and then use some sandpaper to sand it down. Now I'm using my drill to pre-drill a hole so that it doesn't splinter the wood on my handles for my painter sticks, because that can happen. Screwing in the screws. And then I'm going to use my staple gun to go in and just make sure I secure the bottom just a little bit better, because I like things to have a nice strong hold. Our next step is now to take some water, some brown paint and some black paint, and mix it together to create a wood stain. Now I know we could use regular wood stain for this, but I just like using this so much more because I can wash it off my hands really easy and I don't even have to wear gloves. But for summertime, I really have been digging on a darker wood. I just think that this is so pretty for the summertime. Now you can stop at this point, or you can distress it and take a little further, like you know I like to do it here on my channel. So once it was all dried and nice and dark, I went in with a little bit of white paint and simply distressed the sides. The supplies are going to be 2x4 pieces of wood that we're going to cut down to size. The cutting is super simple. I'm using my brand new saw table. I'm so excited. I finally have invested in one of these. I've been saving up for a while and finally got one. And I'm just using straight cuts and a 45-degree angle cut. Now this wood is actually really old wood, which is why I'm needing to sand it down really well, because it came from the wall in between my living room and kitchen. Most people would see that wood as trash, but for myself, I saw it as a treasure. And so I've been holding on to it. And when I realized, oh, I can make cute little houses out of it, I definitely knew what wood to be using. And so basically these houses are going to cost me pretty much nothing other than the cost of paint and painter sticks that we're going to be using, since this wood came from our house. Now, I had so much fun with this part because I love painting. I've always loved painting. I love just, getting my hands dirty and just playing with whatever mediums that I'm working with when it comes to painting a project. So for the houses, I painted a few of them white, and then I'm going to go in with some more fun colors, and I'm going to be adding in some coral, some really creamy, pretty citrusy orange, and then a really pretty mustard yellow. I thought that these would look so cute all together with them being distressed some. Almost think like a little village next to a seaport, the coast. I just think there's something so cute about them, and it makes me think that they're summery. Plus the colors lend really well going into fall time. And because I have so much wood from that wall, I'm actually planning on making a ton more of these with different colors throughout the year because I just love these that much, I guess. Now for the rooftops, I'm going to take the long painter sticks because they're a little bit thicker than the smaller ones. And I'm going to just cut them down to size for my rooftops. A tip about these painter sticks, make sure when you're putting them up on the house that has the peak right in the middle, you're going to want to make sure that you kind of overlap the house roof up at the top just a little bit. And you'll see it towards the end of the video, but you just want to make sure your roof line, they match up perfectly up at the top. So one side needs to be just a tiny bit longer than the other side so that they come together nicely at the top of your roof. And then as you can see here, I've painted them all different colors because I just thought it was so cute to have this different interest in all these different houses and make them look so unique to themselves as if you would see it in a little town. And then for this particular house, how I cut the wood, I stood it up on its side and then did my 45-degree angle cut so that the roof line is coming out more of a shingled roof out towards the front. I thought that that was a cute touch just to turn the direction of my cut lines. And then I'm just adding on 2 pieces up here at the top that are the same width for my painter sticks. And then I'm going to just come on into the other houses where they are going to be meeting up at the top, as you can see here. I'm taking one that's a little bit longer, like I mentioned, and one that's a little bit shorter, and just perfectly lining them up there at the top. Now for my glue, I'm using wood glue and hot glue for that short-term, long-term hold. I really like the idea of doing both of them just because it really does allow you to have a nice quality finished project. Versus over time, if you were to drop them, they could just pop right off with hot glue. So I really like to use a little bit of wood glue anytime I'm ever working with glue. Now the crazy thing is, because these all came from my walls pretty much, I'm spending basically pennies to make these, and people charge so much. Now we're going to take some tongue depressor sticks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just cut them down to size to create some really darling doors. This actually felt like the perfect size for these little houses. I love the width size of them, and so I'm just going to cut them at all different angles. And then I'm going to take some drywall nails. I found that these ones were the closest look to a chimney that I could get because the top of the head was a little bit wider because it's for drywall. And I just went ahead and added a couple of nails in each one. Some of them only got one, and it was to create a chimney smokestack look to them. I just think that this was such a cute detail, and again, pennies to make these. I have been seeing these on Etsy, and people are selling these like a set of 3 houses for so much money. Friends, again, you can tell that the wood was free. The painter sticks cost $1 for 3 of them. Paint, you probably already have it. Popsicle sticks, tongue depressor sticks, again, you probably already have it. These things cost pennies, and when I see that they're being sold for 40, 50 bucks, I just feel like, oh friends, save your money. Unless you don't want to make them and it's easier just to buy them, then I support your decision. But I just want you all to see that taking something like some scrapped leftover wood really can make such a huge impact. Now here in my houses, I'm going to add some windows. My husband was kind of making fun of this house in particular. He's like, do the people on the second and the third floor not get windows? Which made me laugh, but I personally like them spread out. So every house, just have fun with it and just create windows that you love. The supplies for this DIY are going to be 4 of these jars from the Dollar Tree, which I love buying them there. I think these jars are so cute. Some fabric, I'm going to go with a black and white buffalo check, and then some florals. Now sunflowers have been on my mind. I think it's just because they're so happy and I need that sunshine in my life right now. I'm now going to take some foam core after I have spray painted my jars white. I'm going to insert those in, and I'm going to take this fabric and I'm going to cut 4 strips just like you see me doing here, and I'm going to use that to tie around the necks of these jars. Now friends, I'm doing this project today because I want you to know that sometimes craft projects can be really overwhelming. Too big, too complicated, too crazy, right? But I also want you to not be discouraged if you're a new crafter. I want you to try crafting. I want you to try doing things that are just cute to make your house a home. So here I am. I just spray painted these jars white, and now I'm taking some fabric and simply just wrapping them around. And I'll tell you, they sell these jars over at home decor stores for way too much money. I made these whole arrangement that you're going to see here at the end for maybe about $5.50, and they would sell this way more, probably like 30-40 bucks. So here I am. I have painted them. I've tied these little scarves, I would say maybe, around the necks of these jars, and then I'm now going to insert some foam. And then I found this new floral at the Dollar Tree. I was just so in love with these. They're so pretty. There are other colors too. They definitely have them in other colors. I think there's like a really pretty mauve color, a blue color, maybe a purple color. I can't remember. If you go on the Dollar Tree's website, you can see all the different colors that they have, but I love these. They almost look like a very opened rose or a peony. I think they're so pretty. So I'm just adding those in, and then I'm popping in 1 sunflower because I just want that little pop of sunflower in there. I'm adding in some of these cute berries, and then at this point, you know, I just am playing with it, having fun, adding more things. I also decided to add in a cotton stem. I decided that I wanted 2 of my jars to have these in it, so I'm just going to pop those right in. And then at this point, you can display these however you want all over your home. But remember that tray? I'm going to use them in this tray to corral them together because I just think they're so cute to put this on a table somewhere in my home or an entryway. I love how they look all together. So I hope you try these DIYs out today because they are just so fun, and these particular ones that I did today are really easy to follow, and I hope you give crafting a try because it's meant to help us relax and just do something that we're proud of to bring into our home. I thought these were so beautiful from Antique Farmhouse, but again, the biggest one was $42. There's no way. I don't want to pay that price. So I found this beautiful candle stem, this metal round corrugated plate, and this mesh wire trash can or basket, whatever we want to call it. I think it's a basket. The bigger one at the Dollar Tree is the trash can for sure. Add on your E6000 and your hot glue, and here's just a tip. When you're doing these 2 glues together, try not to touch them because the hot glue will start to dry quickly once it touches that E6000. Find the center of that tray and put that on, and then once you've got it flipped over, add some nice goopy glops of that E6000 and then put on your mesh basket. Then while that E6000 is drying, I wanted to add on just a little bit more of this hot glue to help lock it in place so everything dries without moving or shifting. Now I'm going to come in with some brown paint and some cinnamon, and I'm going to work that all over my goblet meshed pedestal. And once I've got it all dry, I'm going to take my brush, dust off any of the excess, and come back in with some black paint to touch up where I don't want it to be so rusty. And at this point, you've got a beautiful container to display whatever you want in it. Friends, this video was so much fun for me to make because I really love to show how you can get that high-end look without paying a ton of money. Just make it your own. Now, please do give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it and you love Farmhouse like I do. And please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new here or you've been watching for a while and just haven't decided yet that you want to stick around, I hope that you will. Now, I'm going to recommend a couple videos here that are similar to this one. I hope you will check them out. And until the next episode, bye friends.